Popularity, more often than not, is a double-edged sword. It gains you notoriety, fame, and maybe even money and influence, but also subjects you to the terrifying ordeal of being known. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe being a household name that everybody knows the business of vis-a-vis the Kardashians is your dream come true. But with popularity comes expectations, standards, unreasonable ideals that people will have about and for you. It's an inevitability that letting people down will happen. So the best question, I suppose, is, would you rather have time to ease into the waters and learn how to navigate those disappointments in exchange for less recognition? Or would you rather risk it all for a boom in popularity that could make and break you? Hey, hi-yo out there to all my big brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, and, of course, mommies, daddies, siblings, and guardians. It's me, your bite-sized baddie and favorite little brother Mark. It is still my belief that people only post online for validation. If a piece was truly only made for your own self-expression with not even the slightest desire for others to validate that expression, then there would be no reason to share it with the rest of the world. I do it, you do it, and every single other person posting anything online does it too. However, is that desire for validation and fame worth your peace of mind? That is what you have to truly ask yourself when posting your works. It's small, but there's always a chance that something you post will become an overnight sensation, that it'll go viral. Having that happen might seem appealing at first. Oh, your related works getting thousands of views and clicks, your stories reaching millions, maybe even getting fan art or AMVs or fan songs if what you made gets hype enough. Throngs of admirers if your content keeps checking all the boxes. But there's a pressure that comes with it. You know the law of equivalent exchange. Something of equal value must be given up in exchange for creating something new. Usually, what you give up is your time and effort to create something. But when it comes to a sudden boom in popularity, what you give up tends to be even greater. See, when you slowly accumulate an audience, you have time to adjust. There's time to learn who you are and what you want your content to be. Not to mention, there's also time to learn how to resolve conflict and how to interact with your audience. A smaller audience can stand to be a bit more familiar with their content creator. You know, chatting directly, answering DMs, things of that sort. Whereas a large audience really can't. Think in terms of the Markipliers and Jacksepticeye's. They don't usually deal with problems on the micro person-to-person level like a smaller content creator might have to. And it's not because there aren't problem people in their fandoms. It's because they literally can't. They either don't have the time to dedicate to it and thus have to delegate to a moderator or other trusted secondary party within the community, or know that they can't personally deal with something because it would set a dangerous precedent. If they didn't resolve every single issue involving individuals in their community from there on, no matter if it would be even a possibility, they'd be accused of favoritism or even defending bad actors. Related to that, there's then the idea that you will immediately know how to handle your newfound fame with grace and poise. Be the perfect Princess Sophia the First. Who cares if you just moved here from the commoner's village where everyone still throws their filth into the streets? You're a princess now, so that means you should inherently know better. Obviously, that's not how things really work, but having so many more eyes on you will ultimately mean any missteps will be magnified, along with the consequences. I've seen so many young artists, whether they are physically or just mentally juvenile, rise to internet fame through one issue or another, only to be torn apart the second the chance arises. Usually, it happens with the start of a positivity campaign. You know, X artist is being harassed for no reason, so go show them some support. When that support results in 500,000 followers out of nowhere, it's then found that the creator either has some less than favorable behaviors or just doesn't know how to act around a large audience that has decided to idolize them. Something as simple as answering a minor's question in DMs about your story can get you slapped with the label of creep or predator, even if the conversation was entirely age appropriate. You're a huge creator. The power imbalance is too great. Who cares if you just got that popularity last week and nothing has substantially changed in your media presence, you are in a position of power over that child and are taking advantage of or grooming them just by talking. I may sound facetious here, but there is unfortunately merit to both sides of the coin. You can have blown up randomly and just be some guy chatting and not even realize there is an imbalance in dynamics. But that doesn't mean that there isn't one, and that someone who's cleaved onto your content might just act in ways they wouldn't for other people. You just cannot treat a massive platform the same as one consisting of a couple thousand of people. That's how creators accidentally incite witch hunts and hate campaigns against another person because they vented about a bad interaction a little too much, or how they end up exposing a load of minors to content that is simply not appropriate just because they didn't fully understand their audience or how proper rating systems work. That sort of trial and error might be acceptable when you have a few hundreds to a couple thousand followers, but it simply cannot happen when you start reaching the tens or even hundreds of thousands. Now, maybe you're just built different. Maybe you have zero issues purporting yourself with the perfect public persona and never get into any trouble. Even the trouble that others might try and create around you, even if it has little to nothing to do with you. You, unfortunately, are not in the clear just yet. That is only one of the unreasonable expectations that I mentioned earlier. Overnight popularity brings with it baggage and, for lack of a better word, an entitlement in those watching. An audience that just suddenly appears will not know how fast or slow you work. They usually won't really care either. They just want the content that went viral, not the person behind it. This means the fame is contingent on your ability to keep pumping out things for them to watch or read. The TikTok ideology that states only channels posting upwards of 10 short-form videos a day can succeed. Same as how now those creators are struggling with the platform shift to favoring videos of 60 seconds or longer, counting those as long-form content even though their algorithm was what destroyed people's attention spans anyway. You will most definitely struggle to keep up. Additionally, there is very little long-term success to be found in blowing up overnight. You will either fall behind or burn yourself out. Each results in a crash. It just depends on whether it's your personal health or your artistic venture that takes the hit. Now, I wanted to hear other people's opinions on the topic. I figured it may be polarizing, or some people may have plans for if they ever did suddenly make it big. To hear from everybody, I made a poll on my Twitter. X. Zitter. Which, by the way, click the flag on the screen so you can go follow and participate in future videos like this. And also see my art and other ramblings. However, to say I was shocked by the poll results was an understatement. See, this question was the most unanimous choice I have ever seen. I expected maybe an 80-20 split ratio, but not 95-5. Theodore F. Sharp says, though I'm no means popular, I'm thankful for my growing community. I'm able to really find my niche and find who I am as I grow and change with them, so to speak. It's not instant success, but instant success usually isn't long-term success or joy. Ness says, I would prefer a slow growth because hard work makes good progress. If I blew up overnight, not only would I give in to demand expectations, I probably wouldn't be able to satisfy those expectations. Vladislav Zarkov, love you Vlad, says, despite the fact that I've been doing it for more than 10 years now and almost gave up on it multiple times, I side with slow and gradual growth. Blowing up not only sets wild content expectations, but is also an unreliable thing in itself. And Great Dictator, yes, that Great Dictator, says, it has been shown time and time again that blowing up will set certain expectations. Slow and gradual might be painful, but in the long run, not only will you be much more healthier, but your audience will probably be less ravenous and not demand content every 5 minutes. So it seems like pretty much everyone agrees with me, but I also asked some opinions from the commentary girlies, gender neutral, just to get their take as well. Take it away, guys.
Alright, here you go. You get the first public recording of me at my standing desk. Haha! Slow and steady growth. I had one relatively large burst comparative to my size at the time, and I had a panic attack over it. Slow build allows you to acclimate to the changes and new expectations of where you're going. If you end up growing too quickly, there's the potential that you're going to be thrust into an environment that you're not ready for, whether that be your audience blowing up past a niche community that you were already acquainted with, or the various financial, community, and business factors that come with a large platform. Some people might be very open about personal things because they feel as though they're just talking to a camera or a microphone, and it may not immediately click what type of audience stands behind it. People tend to learn through experience, and if you've never experienced that many eyes on you, it can be overwhelming. In that regard, a gradual build gives a person the opportunity to get a taste of these new experiences in small increments, get used to them, and then apply that new knowledge as things start to ramp up. It also gives you the chance to converse with your peers or those in similar circles so you can get advice on best approaches and what to avoid. You know, tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race and all that jazz. Just a matter of being patient, smart, keeping a cool head, and sticking to it, and trying desperately not to have a panic attack.
If I had to choose between blowing up overnight or having a slow and steady growth in terms of a platform, I would absolutely endorse the latter. I guess I sort of got to experience both sides of this in a sense. When I first started making videos, it took me about a year to reach 400 subscribers, and then the following January I made a video that suddenly got me 5,000 in the span of a few weeks. Having that sudden incline of people looking at my stuff was terrifying to say the least, but once the initial shock wore off, I spent the first half of that year effectively trying to get lightning to strike twice. Eventually, towards the end, I did get a couple of videos that performed really well that helped me figure out my own consistent formula, and since then I've managed to get a grasp on what it is I'm good at doing, as well as what other people are receptive to, and I'm happy to report that there have been no major incidents so far. So overall, I had a pretty positive experience because I was able to get both sides and use that to carve out my own little community in the way that I wanted, and it's pretty great. I still get the odd lightning strike video that does really well compared to others, but those smaller ones really help to temper the expectations of new viewers, I think. Growing slowly and steadily also allows you to have more control over what kind of community you want to cultivate. I can think of quite a few creators who made it really big really quickly and kind of lost the reins on certain aspects, and it can feel a lot like playing catch up, especially if the creator was quite young and maybe didn't feel like they had everything figured out just yet. Or it can even feel like herding cats if that sudden burst resulted in a large, unruly fan base that is clamoring for your attention and is maybe trying to impart their own expectations on you that you haven't yet had a chance to lay out for them. It's easier to catch water flowing from a tap rather than fling yourself at a waterfall, in my opinion. Take it easy. Online platforms, YouTube especially, are not that serious. You don't owe people anything more than what you're willing to give, no matter what level of growth you experience.
So, it seems pretty well understood that slow and gradual growth is always for the best. Of course, never look a gift horse in the mouth and do your best, and being on that hustle culture, Sigma grind set in search of recognition is not evil or bad. It's just a huge gamble. And while the saying goes that 99% of gamblers stop before they hit it big, I feel like there's no way to really win in terms of viral fame. It is unstable, needy, and will always leave you wanting another hit. It's an obsession magnet, something that will have you combing over every piece of analytics data and trying to recreate success from a usually random happenstance, meaning you'll only be rewarded with frustration and madness in the end. So try not to worry about finding what you can post that will be a viral hit sensation. Instead, focus on the small things. Keep your nose clean, find your niche that you enjoy working within, and honestly, cater your content to yourself and the group of 5 weirdos who share your fascination and hyperfixations. Popularity will either come or it won't. And short of paying to promote your videos as YouTube ads, blazing your Tumblr posts, or shelling out $20 to promote a zeet, you just have to take things one day at a time. What do you think, though? Would you rather have overnight fame, or would you rather try and grow an audience brick by boring brick? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, use our word of the day, zesty, to let me know you're a real one and got to the end of the video. Speaking of, thank you so much for getting here. I really appreciate your support, just like I appreciate my Wondabulicious Patreon supporters. At our brother, sibling, sister tier, we have Viri, Miss Mercuriel, Minnow, and Ash Valentine. At our mommies, daddies, and guardians tier, we have Kiria Makoto, Kai, and Mary. And at our gods, goddesses, and deities tier, we have gods and punks. Thank you all so much for your continued support. It truly means the world to me, and I love you very, very much. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe, it really helps out the channel, and I'm still probably gonna be doing that art giveaway at 3,000 subscribers, so keep an eye out. Thank you again to Apollo and B for giving me your voices for this video, and I hope you have an absolutely scrubdangulous day. Bye-bye!
Blow on the tea so it don't burn your mouth. I burn my mouth.
People tend to learn. Ah!